online sales and how to file sales tax. Today's session will be much more brief than Monday's. We're going to talk today about exemption certificates, which are certificates that when used under the correct circumstances and situations, exempts the purchaser from having to pay sales tax on certain items. And next we will talk about after that special sales tax areas. There are areas in the state that are either deemed, first one we'll talk about is an urban enterprise zone, which are all over the states. And they are allowed to collect sales tax at a reduced rate, which is half rate. And we'll also talk about there's a different sales tax rate for Salem County, and there's additional fees and taxes if you're operating in Cape May, and there's additional fees and taxes if you're operating in Atlantic City. So I wanted to start out with the most pertinent, I think, part of the presentation, which is exemption certificates, because they apply to everybody. So if you're not in an urban enterprise zone, if you're not in Cape May, if you're not running a casino in Atlantic City, you can probably cut out after exemption certificates, because what I'm going to talk about with these special areas may not apply to you. But let's start with the exemption certificates. So what are exemption certificates? They're just that. They are certificates. They're pieces of paper. They can be found on our website. They can be printed out, as many as you want, all except for one, which I'll talk about. And they are used for making sales tax-free purchases on qualified items and services under certain conditions. And these can be used by not only business owners, but individuals themselves, which is a big one I will talk about when we get to a specific exemption certificate. If you guys remember from Monday, if you were here Monday, I went into the whole spiel about the retailer going to the wholesaler and the wholesaler going to the manufacturer, and that whole chain of events, and each one would use an exemption certificate called an ST3 to avoid paying sales tax, because sales tax is only paid by the end user. That's what I was talking about. That's what we're going to get more into today. So the ST3 information I give you is going to be somewhat of a repeat. So to reiterate, and this is an excellent point, sales tax is only collected once, no matter how many times the product or service goes through multiple hands or transactions, and it's collected from the end user or the ultimate consumer. This is the person that is buying the product, not to resell, not to alter the product in a different shape and sell that, but the person who is buying the product for their personal use. That is the end user, that is the ultimate consumer, that is the person who is responsible to be charged sales tax. And something I did not mention in Monday's presentation, but I will mention now, I often get asked, whose responsibility is it when it comes to sales tax? If I go into a store and I buy something and it's supposed to be subject to sales tax, but they don't charge me sales tax, am I at fault or is the store at fault? It is always the responsibility of the person administering or charging the tax. So if there's ever a reason we need to go, I don't want to use the term go after, but it's the first one that's popping into my head. If we ever need to go after somebody for not collecting sales tax, if it's always going to be on the person whose responsibility it was to charge the tax, never the customer. If you go into a store as a customer, even as a person or a business owner, and they don't charge you sales tax on the taxable item, that's not your fault. So this is a repeat again from Monday, but let's just go through the chain of events here. This leads us to our ultimate consumer or end user. So, and this leads into basically the ST3, the resale certificate. So you can see we have a whole chain of events here. So I will use, I'm not going to use the computer. I'm looking across the street. My neighbor has a big rubber inflatable ball in their front yard. So I'll use that as an example today. The rubber ball is a toy that is absolutely subject to sales tax. So let's say the manufacturer makes rubber balls as well as many other rubber products in their factory, but one of them happens to be rubber balls for kids to play with. And I, as a wholesaler, am a wholesaler of rubber goods. So I go to the manufacturer has a quantity of rubber balls there, and I say, as the wholesaler, I want to purchase 500 of them to sell to various retailers. That's fine. A wholesaler is going to purchase those rubber balls from the manufacturer. They're going to pay whatever price the manufacturer sees fit to charge them. However, if the manufacturer tries to charge the wholesaler sales tax on this purchase, the wholesaler can present the manufacturer with what we call exemption certificates. In this case, they would be using the ST3, the resale certificate. And the whole point of this certificate is the wholesaler is buying these rubber balls not for personal use, but for them to go and sell to another party. So in this case, being that sales tax can only be charged once, they're going to present the manufacturer with an ST3 saying, do not charge me sales tax on this purchase. I will either charge sales tax when I sell it to the end user, or if I'm selling to a retailer, which is what's going to happen next in our situation, they're going to present me with an ST3 and we're going to go down the chain. So now the wholesaler has these rubber balls. The wholesaler goes to a store, toy store, says, I got 500 rubber balls. Do you want to buy any? Retailer says, yeah, summer's coming up. We could use some of those rubber balls. Let me buy 100 of them. Wholesaler sells 100 rubber balls to the retailer at whatever price, again, the wholesaler sees fit. The retailer, again, is not buying these rubber balls for their personal use. They're buying to put them in their store so customers can come in and buy them. So the retailer as well will use the ST3, the resale certificate, presented to the wholesaler to exempt the retailer from having to pay sales tax on the purchase of the rubber balls. So now the retailer has 100 of these balls. They put them in their stores in those big plastic bins. Not plastic, whatever it is, metal. You've all seen them when you go to like Toys R Us. And then I walk into Toys R Us and I'm in a good mood. So I want to buy a rubber ball and then go home and play with it or play with it in the pool. I am the ultimate user, I am the ultimate consumer and the end user. The retailer is then going to charge me sales tax on the purchase. So even though the rubber balls have gone through many hands here, sales tax can only be charged once, and it is only charged to the ultimate consumer or end user. So I would then go up to the register at Toys R Us with my rubber ball. They would charge me again whatever price they see fit for this rubber ball, and they would charge me then sales tax. So these are the certificates we're going to talk about today. These are not the only exemption certificates we have on our website. We have many more. These are some of the most common. The first one is the one we just went through, the ST3, the resale certificate. The second one is the ST4, the exempt use certificate. The next one is the ST5 exempt organization. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but I will mention pertinent things about it. And the last one is the ST5 exempt capital improvement certificate. When you use these exemption certificates or are presented with these exemption certificates, keep a copy of these in your records for up to 4 years in case you're audited. Say you're constantly making sales. I'll just use you guys as an example. You're opening up a small business. Somebody finds out about your small business and they have a business that's somewhat similar to yours, and you are hooked up with a manufacturer and you get products from them or materials, and this other person wants to buy these from you. So you keep selling them these materials, but because they're not using them for personal use, they're giving you resale certificates. So at some point in the future, maybe somebody from the Division of Taxation can say, well, look, you're filing your ST50, your sales tax return. You're reporting $50,000 in gross receipts, and you're reporting $50,000 in exempt sales. Why? You can present them with the ST3s, the resale certificates that you've been given, and saying, this is the reason I have not been collecting and remitting sales tax to you guys, because I've been selling them to somebody who is reselling the items themselves, not for personal use. So keep them. Store them on your computer electronically, by paper, it doesn't matter. Keep a copy for up to 4 years in case you're audited, which in the case of small businesses is unlikely. For more information about all the exemption certificates, we have a publication on our website called the SNU-6, which deals with the Sales Tax Exemption Administration. So I'm just going to briefly go through the resale certificate because we pretty much covered everything except one thing about it. So it exempts purchasers from paying sales tax when the purchaser isn't the end user. That is what I talked about earlier with this whole situation. But there's another one. It exempts the purchaser from paying sales tax when the product is going to be resold in its present form or as a component of another product. So these first two cover the resale angle. You're not the end user and you're just reselling the product. However, if you're buying something to use as a component part to make a totally different product, that also is an eligibility for use of the ST3 resale certificate. And I'll give you an example. I believe I used the jeweler example the other day with watches talking about use tax. I'll use the jeweler as an example again. So I'm a jeweler, I have a jewelry store. Some of the jewelry I buy from wholesalers, some of the jewelry I make myself. So I may be hooked up with a jewelry wholesale company that sells materials for jewelry making. So I may buy silver from them. I may buy garnets, gems, things like that. I'm not buying the silver from them for me to sell a block of silver to the customers. I'm not buying the gem from them or the garnets to me to sell as that individual item. I'm buying them because I'm going to take that, I'm going to melt the silver down, I'm going to put gems in it, I'm going to make a ring out of it, I'm going to make earrings out of it. That is a qualified use as well for the ST3. So when you go to the jewelry wholesaler or whatever wholesaler you're going to, if you're buying something that is going to be a component of a product you're making that, again, is going to be subject to sales tax, and I got to reiterate, if what you're doing is not subject to sales tax, you can log off right now. You don't need to listen to any of this. It's just going to confuse you. But if you are buying material to make into a sales taxable item, a totally new item, you can use the resale certificate to exempt yourself from paying sales tax on the material. And again, keep it on file for 4 years, and blanket certificates are available. So what do we mean when we say blanket certificates? So I have an arts and crafts business. I go to Michael's all the time. I buy a lot of materials from Michael's. Every time I walk into Michael's, I don't want to have to present them with a new ST3. I can basically print out one ST3 that they will keep on file. It's got my name, my tax ID number on it. They have it on file. So every time I go in the store, I say, you already have my ST3 on file. I'm not going to keep giving you an ST3 for every purchase I make. So that is what we mean by blanket certificates. If there's somebody you're dealing with a lot, you can just present them with one certificate and they can keep that on file. Of course, they should also keep track of all the sales you're making in case of an audit situation, but we only need really one certificate. This is just another example. Laptops are made. Dell makes the laptop. Wholesaler buys the laptop from Dell, gives them an ST3. Best Buy buys the laptop from the wholesaler, gives them an ST3. Mr. Ortiz walks into Best Buy, buys the laptop. He is what? He is the ultimate consumer or the end user. He pays the sales tax. These people do not. 1 second, let me take a sip here. So the next certificate we're going to talk about is the ST4, our exempt use certificate, and it exempts products or services based on how they are used. The most commonly used uses of the ST4 are listed below. The most common one I see when I talk to new business owners is the first bullet point: wrapping materials or non-returnable containers. You're selling your products, you're shipping them to customers. You may have to buy bubble wrap, styrofoam peanuts, those bags you get from Amazon. When you open a box, they're bags that are filled with air. Anything like that, that is not a part of the product you're selling and is not going to be returned to you, which of course this stuff is not going to be returned to you, you can use the ST4 from whoever you buy this from and say, look, these are packing materials, these are wrapping materials, I'm buying them for business purposes, they're going into a box, a product, I'm not getting them back. Here's an ST4, do not charge me sales tax. Another use is for machinery and equipment for manufacturing. Not all machinery or equipment qualifies, so make sure you look at the back of the ST4 itself. Photos for advertising in newspapers if it's business related. And the last point is commercial trucks properly registered above 26,000 pounds. So here's a picture of the ST4. This is the ST4, but most of our exemption certificates look exactly like this, except the title is different. So the first part, the front of the exemption certificate, is the one you will fill out. Fill out the information up here. The purchaser fills it out down here, and you pick one of the codes. If you go to the back of any exemption certificate, It will give you pretty much a list of everything that this exemption certificate can be legally used for. And if I hit a button here, this is the one we're talking about when we're talking about wrapping materials or non-returnable containers for use and delivery of tangible personal products or sales of containers. So this is what you would put on the front, this subheading here, to go into this box. So that's all an exemption certificate is. It's one piece of paper. The front side is the side you and whoever you're submitting this to fill out, and the back side explains all its uses. Now this one I'm not going to talk about too much. I said all our exemption certificates except one are available on our website for you to print out as many as you like. That is true. This is the one that is not available on our website. And it's for a very good reason. This is the exempt organization certificate. This is the certificate businesses get when they register as an exempt organization, or to use another phrase, as a nonprofit. So these people fill out a different registration form. They don't do the NJ Reg. They fill out a different registration form, and when they do that, they get issued the ST5 from the state. So it's not on our website. They keep this ST5 on file. They can use the same ST5 for many years. I've seen some from the 70s. If they ever need a replacement, they can call us and we will send them a replacement. But other than that, this is only for people registering charities, nonprofits, church organizations, government organizations, schools, things like that. I'm not going to get too much into, in fact, that's all I'm going to talk about as far as exempt organizations go, because most people I find in these workshops are not starting nonprofits. The last certificate I'm going to go in depth about is our ST8, our Exempt Capital Improvement Certificate. And this certificate is important not only for business owners, but this can be used, as can a few of our other certificates, by residents of the state of New Jersey. And what this certificate does, the ST8, it exempts you from paying sales tax when you're having work done on either your home or property, if the work that's being done is considered an exempt capital improvement by the state. Now, capital improvements generally increase the capital value of the property. They may cause, and they typically do cause, the property taxes to increase, and they are permanently affixed to the property. So this can be used by anyone. You don't have a business, doesn't matter. You never had a business, you're never going to have a business, does not matter. You can use this, and it only applies to the labor portion of the bill. And let me get to why that is. And this is also a good point of to mention, and it mainly refers to contractors. So if any of you are going into some kind of contracting or handyman work, you want to pay attention to what I'm about to say. I'm sorry, I keep getting a text. I want to make sure it's not related to what I'm saying. What's going on here? It's nonsense. I'm sorry. All right. When a contractor goes into a store, such as a Home Depot or a Lowe's, they are going to buy materials for projects they have. Now, when they buy nails, boards, sheetrock, drywall, anything like that, I talked about ultimate consumer and the end user. In this case, when a contractor buys materials from a store, the state considers them the end user. So the contractor in this case cannot use an ST3 or an ST4 and say, hey, I'm not buying these nails for my personal use. I'm buying them. You're not going to sell nails to somebody, but I'm buying them to resell or to sell as part of pieces of a project I'm making. We don't consider them the end user, or we do consider them the end user because there's no guarantee that all the materials they're buying are going to be used for that one person's job. So they're going to have extra nails left over. They're going to have extra drywall. They're going to have extra boards. So that is why we consider the contractor the end user when they purchase materials. And that leads back to the point I'm making. The contractor cannot charge you sales tax on materials for a job that they're doing for you because They were already charged sales tax when they purchased the materials, because we, in this case, consider them the end user. So a contractor, when they do work on your house or your business, can only charge you sales tax on the labor portion of the bill. And that being the case, the ST8, the exempt capital improvement certificate, only exempts you from paying sales tax on the labor portion of the bill, because there should not even be sales tax charged to you on the materials. The contractor will always pay sales tax on supplies or materials. So let me give you an example so you can see how this ST8 is used. And it's the deck scenario we use. I moved into this house a few years ago, and it did not have a deck on the back of it. And I wanted a deck on the back of it. So I had a contractor come out and put a deck on the back of it. Now, is a deck a capital improvement? Absolutely it is. It's permanently affixed to the house. It increases the value. I don't know if it increased my property taxes. I'm not really up to snuff on that. I just let my mortgage company deal with it, but it is definitely a capital improvement. So I could have, and I don't think I did, present the contractor with an ST8 for me to avoid sales tax on the labor portion of them building the deck. And the reason I did not present them with the ST8, many contractors, especially big contractors or contractors that have been around for a long time, they are well aware of the ST8. They know what capital improvements are. A lot of these contractors will have a copy of the ST8 with them in their truck, in their van, whatever. It's going to be part of the paperwork they present to you. Not all of them are going to have this, but a lot of them. So if they don't, you can definitely go to our website, which is njtaxation.org, and you can print out an ST8 and present it to a contractor that's doing work on your house. That, again, is considered a capital improvement by the state of New Jersey, and I'll talk more about that in 1 second. You can present it to them. They can't charge you sales tax on the labor portion of the bill. So we talked about the deck scenario. So the ST8, again, is only used for new construction. Any maintenance or repair, even if it is to an original capital improvement, does not qualify. So say now, I want them to come out and weatherproof the deck, which I actually did myself. Or I want them, say a board is warped in the deck, and I want them to come out and I want them to replace one board. That is not capital improvement. The capital improvement was the building of the deck itself. Maintenance and repair to capital improvements do not qualify for the ST8. So again, you guys can use this yourself. If you've recently had work done or going to have work done this summer, by all means, use the ST8 if it qualifies. Or if you've already had the work done, maybe you want to get in touch with the contractor and you were charged sales tax incorrectly on the labor. That's going to be a tough phone call probably. I've dealt with a lot of contractors, but you can try and do that and get a refund of the money you paid in sales tax. If not, like I mentioned in our previous session, you can fill out the A-3730 and submit that to the state for the refund of sales tax. And we'll look into this and refund the sales tax if the contractor will not. So what's a capital improvement? Well, a lot of things you would think are capital improvements are not, such as on here, landscaping services. It's permanently affixed. It increases the value. It may increase the property taxes to go up. This one blows my mind. New floors. I got new hardwood floors. There's nice ones here in this picture. Carpeting, things like that. For whatever reason, the state has deemed that these are taxable capital improvements along with alarm and monitoring systems, meaning that these capital improvements, they are capital improvements, but the state, again, for whatever reason, has deemed these are not eligible for the ST8, so the ST8 cannot be used, so the contractor will rightfully charge you sales tax on the labor portion of landscaping, installation of security or monitoring devices, and hardwood flooring or carpeting. So again, when we talk about capital improvements, we're not talking about all capital improvements with the ST8. We're only talking about what we consider exempt capital improvements. And I thought we don't have it here on our website. If Soli has the answer, she can chime in. We have a whole publication on our website dealing with contractors and capital improvements. And if we can't get it right now, we'll get it to you before the end, the name of it. So here's some other examples of the exemption certificates that are on our website. Again, we went over the resale certificate. I'm not going to go down a lot of these. A lot of these you'll never see or use, such as the farmer's exemption certificate, aircraft dealers. I doubt many of you are selling aircraft. One other interesting one is the exemption certificate for student textbooks. If you're purchasing a textbook for school purposes, it should not be charged sales tax. So this, again, much like the contractor knowing about the ST8, if you go into a college bookstore and buy books, they already know they're not going to charge you sales tax. But if for whatever reason they do, or you're buying some kind of textbook from a third party for school purposes and they charge you sales tax, you can present them with the ST16 to exempt from paying sales tax on textbooks. And as some of you guys know, these textbooks can get very expensive and be up in the hundreds of dollars. However, it must be for school use. If you're buying it for your own reading enjoyment, which I've bought textbooks, I read a lot of weird things, would not be qualified. All right, we already talked about this. I'm going to have to jump around a bit. And what did I want to talk about here? Give me 1 second.
Mike, since I have you looking, you wanted to just name the publication for the sales tax and home improvement?
Exactly.
Okay, thanks.
All right, give me 1 second, everyone.
Please feel free to ask any questions in the chat box, just as a reminder. And Mike, you're doing a fantastic job as usual.
I thought this presentation did have UEZs. Just bear with me, everybody. All right, I'm gonna have to open another presentation.
Okay.
Good. 1 second. All right, thank you for bearing with me. So I'm gonna have to jump between a few presentations here because they're all split up. All right, that concludes our, let me just check the time. That concludes our talk on exemption certificates. We're certainly available. Soli's on the back end to answer questions if you have any about those, and we'll have time at the end to answer questions because we've probably only got about 10 or 15 minutes left of this presentation. Now we're gonna switch gears and we're gonna talk about special sales tax areas. These are areas in New Jersey which for multiple reasons either are authorized by the Division of Taxation to collect sales tax at a reduced rate, or because of where they're located, have additional tax and fees applied to anything you buy under certain circumstances. The first one we're going to talk about are all over the state, and they're called urban enterprise zones. And on your screen is a list of towns and counties that contain urban enterprise zones. You guys should have got a handout on Monday, and that lists all the urban enterprise zones in the state, and it also lists the name of that urban enterprise zone's coordinator and their phone number. So if you're operating in any of these zones, you can contact your urban enterprise zone coordinator and get hooked up with them, and that authorizes you to collect sales tax at a reduced rate on certain purchases. And as you'll see, as I go on with this, not every purchase is eligible. So the whole point of these urban enterprise zones is they're usually in disenfranchised areas, and they are there to encourage people to actually go into these zones to make purchases to support the economy of that community. And when I say that they are authorized to collect sales tax at a reduced rate, the reduced rate is half of the current sales tax amount. The current sales tax amount is 6.625%. So if you were collecting sales tax in an urban enterprise zone on qualified purchases, you'd be collecting it at 3.315 or 12.5. So the incentives for even being in an urban enterprise zone: corporations get business tax credits for just having a business there, for hiring employees there, for investing in there. So this has nothing really to do with the exemption or the zone itself or reduced rate. This is just the incentives for being in that zone. And the business can make tax-free purchases with the UZ5, and they collect, again, sales tax at a reduced rate or half of the current amount. Eligible purchases are the retail sales of most products. What is not eligible? All the fun stuff: alcohol, cigarettes, motor vehicles, prepared food, and services. So if you are operating in an urban enterprise zone, if we deem that your business is eligible and you sell multiple products, some you are going to collect sales tax at a reduced rate, but some, if you also sell, say, alcohol and cigarettes, are still going to be charging the taxpayer at the full New Jersey rate. These are pretty much luxury items. So as you can see from prepared food, any restaurants that are in urban enterprise zones are not going to collect anything at the reduced rate because we've deemed what they sell as ineligible. So basically, if you're selling anything but the 4 products listed here and any services do not qualify, and you are in an urban enterprise zone, you can collect sales tax at the reduced rate. How to do that, how to get on that track, is to contact your UEZ coordinator in your area. And now that you have a urban enterprise zone eligibility, you're not going to do the ST50, which is the regular quarterly sales tax return that we talked about on Monday. You're going to do the UZ50, and you're going to report all your sales that you made that were subject to the UEZ rate, the half rate, and any sales you made that were subject to the full sales tax rate. The UEZ 50 is filed electronically from our website, and unlike the quarterly filing of the ST50, the UZ 50 is a monthly return that is due on the 20th day of the following month of which the tax is collected. So as a brief example, all your sales in a UEZ for January must be reported on the UZ 50 between February 1st and 20th. The same principle as the quarterly filing due dates, but now on a monthly schedule. And this is what the UZ 50 looks like. It's got sales tax at the whole rate and sales tax at the reduced rate in case you sell some products that are eligible and are not ineligible. It looks pretty much similar to the ST50. The only addition is another column for sales that are subject to the urban enterprise zone rate. Poll question. Let's see if this applies. What form do you need to file to report your UEZ sales tax? What form is it? Is it the UZ60, UZ50, or the EZ50? So what's the form you need to file your monthly urban enterprise zone sales tax? You guys know this, right? It's the UZ50. All right, I think that's it for UEZ, so I'm going to have to jump around to the next presentation. Give me 1 second, please. Okay, good. Excellent. All right. So special sales tax areas. We've talked about UEZ. The next one we're going to talk about is the Salem County reduced sales tax rate. Salem County has a reduced tax rate because it is on the border of us in Delaware. And if you were here on Monday, I talked about people going to Delaware because Delaware is the home of sales tax-free purchases, which is true. But again, like I talked about on Monday, if you are buying taxable items in Delaware to bring back for use in New Jersey, you're not going to get away with not paying any sales tax. You're going to have to remit that as use tax. That being said, we are trying to discourage people from going to Delaware to do this because they're going to have to pay it anyway. Plus, they're going to be driving through Salem County, maybe a lot of them are. And being that Salem County is on the border, we have authorized them as well to collect sales tax at half the current rate. Now, if you are in Salem County and you're doing the NJ Reg, make sure you indicate this on line 11C. So we know you are eligible for the Salem County reduced sales tax rate and not the regular sales tax rate. Again, much like the UEZ, ineligible purchases are on motor vehicles, alcohol, cigarettes, prepared foods, and any and all services. So all services, don't cut it. Motor vehicles, don't make it. Alcohol, cigarettes, prepared food, they are all going to still be charged tax at the higher rate. If you are selling something in Salem County that is not any of these things, and it's a product and not a service, it's probably eligible for you to charge the customer the reduced rate. This is a repeat of that slide. So how does Salem County file? They do file a quarterly return. It is done electronically. This case, it is called the ST450. And again, much like the ST50, it is due 20 days after the quarter ends. Now, again, on Monday, we talked about people who were required to make monthly payments to the state of New Jersey. That is true as well for people in Salem County. It's the same exact thresholds, $30,000 in sales tax collected the prior year, and in excess of $500 in sales tax collected in either the first or second month of a quarter. If you meet those thresholds, you will get a letter from us letting you know that, yes, you still need to file quarterly, but just like the ST50, we want you to pay us monthly using the ST451. All right, now let's talk about extra fees and taxes. Cape May County has a few of them. They have a Cape May County tourism tax and they have a Cape May County tourism assessment fee. And this is for businesses in Wildwood, North Wildwood. And it's used to provide funding for tourism projects, and it's charged on hotel, motel, occupancy, things like that, boarding house, lodging, Airbnb, food and drink, restaurants, and admission charges. And it's an additional 2% on tourism-related retail sales. So you would simply take 2%, add it to the current sales tax rate of 6.625, and that is the grand total you would charge your customer if you're operating a business in these areas, and if your business involves occupancy, boarding, or lodging, a restaurant, or some type of admission charge. If it is not this, and if you were just operating a store in Cape May County, you do not have to charge the 2% additional tourism tax, only on these transactions. The other thing we have is the tourism assessment in Cape May. And in case you want to know where your money goes, this is used to promote economic growth and employment related to tourism economy. And it's charged on room rentals and hotel, motel, occupancy, etc. So this is an additional assessment on hotel, motels, Airbnbs, boarding, lodging of 1.85%. So you can already see there's 2% on this for the Cape May County tourism tax. Well, if you're in the hotel business in Cape May, you're going to charge them the additional 2% tax. You're going to charge them the 6.625% New Jersey sales tax, and only on lodgings and boarding, you're going to charge them an additional 1.85% tourism assessment. So the bill could look something like this. You got your 2% tourism tax, 1.85% tourism assessment, regular 6.625% New Jersey sales tax, leading to a grand total of 10.75% to be added to the total bill for qualified purchases in Cape May, or these areas as well. So again, I already went over this, but tourism tax is for funding tourism projects activities. It's 2% on sales. If you're only charging that and not the fee, meaning it's not for boarding or lodging, it's 8.625%, 2% plus regular sales tax rate. If you're charging just the tourism assessment, which is not going to be the case because it's only on boarding or lodging, and the 2% tax already is under hotel and motel. So anything under the tourism assessment is going to be 1.85% plus the additional 2% plus the 6.625% regular New Jersey sales tax rate. So again, you guys have to file a different form, and it's going to be monthly, and this one is called the ST350. It's filed electronically, and much like every other sales tax return, it is due 20 days after the filing period ends, and in this case, it is a monthly filing period. So what do UEZ businesses do in Cape May County? So there are UEZs in Cape May. These people, under the circumstances, may be required, if they sell eligible UEZ eligible items, to file two sales tax returns, the ST350 and the UZ50. The 350 for their Cape May County taxes and the UZ50 for any urban enterprise zone sales they made. The last one we're going to talk about is the Atlantic City taxes and fees. And this again is probably not going to apply to anybody here unless you're running some kind of business in Atlantic City like a casino or gambling or anything like that. It probably won't apply to you, but let's go through it real fast. What this does apply to is casino parking and facility fees, the luxury tax, and the tourism promotion fee. So the minimum you can charge this on is it's got to be greater than $3 fee per day, no matter what the fee is. This fee is paid to the Casino Control Commission, and the fee itself is not subject to sales tax unless it exceeds $3. Then it is subject to sales tax. And let me show you on the next, that's not the next slide, it's the next click. Tropicana Parking Garage charges $10 parking fee. They're going to charge the $3 Casino Control Commission fee, which is not subject to sales tax, and they're going to charge an additional fee for whatever reason that they're charging for you to park in their lovely parking garage. And that fee, they are saying it's $7. That's fine. They can make up whatever amount they want. And they are going to charge the full sales tax amount on that fee. So let's just go through it one more time. I know it doesn't apply to a lot of you guys, or probably any of you guys, but I just like to explain things thoroughly. In this situation, you go to park, $10 parking fee. In addition to that, because you're Atlantic City, you got to charge the $3 commission, Casino Control Commission. No sales tax is to be charged on this $3 fee. The parking garage has an additional fee of whatever amount. In this case, it's $7. Being that it is over $3, it is now subject to New Jersey sales tax of the 6.625% sales tax charged. So if the parking fee is $10, the fee is $3, and the additional fee, whatever fee they want to charge is $7, you're going to be paying sales tax on $17. The only sales tax you won't be paying is on $3 for the Casino Control Commission fee. Sorry. So the Atlantic City luxury tax is a tax on rental sales services purchases in Atlantic City. If you are at all interested in this, we do have a publication on our website that completely covers the Atlantic City luxury tax called the ANJ-17. And I really think that's probably all I need to talk about. Well, let me go into a little more. If you do qualify for the luxury tax, you are going to file an additional return again called the ST250 this time, done electronically, due on the 20th day of the month following the reporting period. And Atlantic City also has a tourism promotion fee. Hotels with casino and gambling can charge a $2 fee on room rentals, except for rooms on assembly, weddings, conferences, things, etc. Before this pandemic, going to a casino or a hotel and presenting in these conference rooms was something Solange and I did very frequently. Any other hotel charges, there is a $1 fee on room rentals, and again, except if it's for an assembly such as a wedding or a conference, etc. So these are just the additional fees. I don't want to confuse you that Atlantic City charges on luxury tax items or services in Atlantic City itself. And again, I'm not going to talk too much more about this because I don't think it applies much to any of you. However, if it does, let us know and we'll be glad to answer your questions now or research them and get back to you by email. That pretty much does it for exemption certificates and special sales tax areas. Let me go through this real quick, and then if you guys have any questions, we'll be happy to answer your questions. So I already went through this on Monday, but let me reiterate, I encourage all of you to sign up for our NJ Tax e-news. It is a once a month email you will get from the state that details any new laws, rules, or regulations that apply to you as a resident of New Jersey or you as a business owner of New Jersey. So this is what our website looks like, njtaxation.org. Help and resources, NJ Tax e-news. Subscribe to NJ Tax e-news, and again, you'll only get something once a month. This is our website here. This is the seal of the Division of Taxation. Our website again, I'll say it again, njtaxation.org. We are on several social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. I encourage you all to follow or like us on these platforms because, like I said on Monday, we do update our website quite frequently. But as you know, it's much more quicker and easier to put out a Facebook post than to update a website. So any changes that come down the pike concerning the Division of Taxation are most likely going to be posted first on our social media platforms before they're posted on our website. And if they are posted on our website, you may not even know that we've updated our website, or it may take a lot of time for you to look and find what you don't even know you should be looking for. So it is definitely in your best interest to follow us on our social media platform. What you'll find on YouTube is pretty much instructional videos on how to file certain returns, such as sales tax returns. That is pretty much it for the presentation. I want to thank you all for joining us. I want to thank Alex for hosting this. I appreciate you all taking the time to sit in and listen to my spiel. I wish you all the best of luck with your businesses. We gave you our references and our phone number on Monday. In case you were not here, I'm going to rattle off a few phone numbers for you.
And I'll go ahead and write them down as you tell them.
Okay, you're going to write them down in chat. Good.
Yes.
The first phone number is our regular customer service call center. That is 609-292-6400. Because of the pandemic, they have scaled back hours. They're only there Monday to Thursday from 9 to 4. Call them with any questions, business, personal related, anything. The next phone, and that is a public phone number. The next phone numbers I'm going to give you is our phone number, the phone number where Solange and I work, 609-633-6015. That is the phone number for Taxation University. That is the phone number we give you guys as a courtesy for basically supporting Soli and I and paying our salaries and coming to these events. It is not a call center. So please do not share that number with anyone else, because if we do get too many phone calls, it might be something we have to stop giving out. But we will happily take calls from anybody who attended one of our seminars, and we will happily answer any questions you have about anything New Jersey tax related. And unlike the call center, there won't be a wait time. Now, bear in mind, we're in a pandemic, in case you forgot. I'm obviously at home, Solange is at home. There's only about 2 people currently in our office. So again, there probably won't be a wait time, but we are short-staffed. So maybe you want to go with the customer service center first. The last thing I'm going to give you is the email address where Solange and I work. And again, I would appreciate if you keep this private. That email address is outreach.tax@TREAS, that's TREAS.nj.gov. So if you have a question, you want to get something in writing, especially regarding sales tax, if people want a statute cited or something like that, something in writing to keep for their records or to show a client or another business, email us. As of right now, that's pretty much the end of me talking. If you guys have any questions, or if Solange still has questions from the chat feature, let me know and we'll be happy to answer them.
No questions, Mike.
Okay. And again,
This is Alex again. If there's anybody out there that has questions that either Mike or Solange has not answered through chat, if you want to ask it now, feel free to unmute your mic and you can ask Mike whatever question you may have.
tax related. Actually,
Hi, Mike.
ask me whatever. I don't care.
Hi, Mike. My name is Steven. How are you? And thank you for the great presentation. My question pertained to being a painting contractor. So as a painting contractor, then, just to clarify, I can provide the ST8 form to our clients to help them avoid any taxation on labor?
Correct. However, we're getting into the tricky subject of what is considered a capital improvement. And off the top of my head, I believe that the only capital improvement related to painting is painting of new construction.
That's correct.
Anything else, if you're painting just a room for them or even the whole house, if it's already there, we unfortunately do not consider that a capital improvement. But if you are painting a new construction, whether it be a resident or a business, absolutely, that's a capital improvement and eligible for them to use the ST8.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, that answered my question. Basically, if it's new construction, then we can use the ST8. But if it's a property that's already, a residential property that's already there and we're doing some repainting, then it wouldn't apply.
Absolutely correct.
Thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, going once, going twice. Okay. All right, I just wanted to thank Solange and Mike very much for joining us today from the state of New Jersey, from the Taxation University. And they've been very generous with their time, and Woodbridge Public Library appreciates it very much. And we look forward to possibly partnering again with them on some upcoming programs they have available.
Absolutely.
Businesses in Woodbridge. So was everybody able to get the information that Solange put in the chat, those numbers that Mike had mentioned, and the email address that he had mentioned as well? If anybody still needs that, let me know now. Also, one last thing, I know some of you were interested in that information on the urban enterprise zones. We have your contact information, and Solange is going to get that out to me and Nadia, and we will be forwarding all that to you at whatever email address you have provided.
That's correct. Stephen missed the first class. Well, where would he be able to view the recording? I know you guys mentioned you have a YouTube channel that you'll make available to them.
So this is, Stephen, this is being recorded, this session. Nadia also had recorded the first session. I just spoke to her briefly. I think the intention is to put it up on the Woodbridge Public Library YouTube channel. What you can do is go to our website, which is woodbridgelibrary.org, and you'll see the link for the YouTube channel on there to get over to our YouTube channel. It's not up yet. I would say give her a day or two to get it up, but she is going to be putting both sessions up.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us. We appreciate you engaging in our presentation. Thanks, Mike. You did a great job. Excellent. And hopefully I was able to answer some of the questions with clarity, the questions you had. And as Alex mentioned before, I will be sending over the list for the UEZ, the contact list for that, and that will be made available to you guys, okay? But I did put in here the website. It was just a quick UEZ notice reference from our website, and that gives you pretty good information as well. Okay.
All right, excellent. If nobody else has questions, we will end the workshop. Thank you very much again, Solange and Mike, and have a great day now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too,
Take care, everyone.
That's attended. Thank you for attending, and please spread the word around that if you have any questions regarding small business matters, we're here at the Woodbridge Library to help them out. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.